All right, guys, we are ready to decorate sugar skulls. You should have a blank skull. Everyone will be getting a Sharpie marker, and you will be putting your name and code on the back of your skull. Now, because this is dried sugar and it's got kind of a rough, bumpy texture, it is a little tricky to write your name and code. Write it kind of big, I think that helps. And kind of just take your time. You need kind of big letters. If you try to write small, it just gets really hard to read. So, kind of big. And your code, whatever your code is, just take your time. You don't have to push very hard. You don't want to ruin the Sharpie too bad. And make it nice and big. So, name and code. That will help me get this back to you. They will need to stay here to dry and then go on display to show off to everybody at school. And then you'll be getting them back. So, you got to have that name and code if I'm going to be able to give it back to you. Okay, we have icing. This is royal icing to decorate your sugar skulls. It's just sugar, a lot of meringue powder, and a little bit of water. That meringue powder is what will make this dry like cement, like hard glue. It makes it not tasty. We are not eating anything today. I probably have already told your class that. Nothing we're using today we're eating. It could be dirty. A lot of the stuff I've had is really old, like several years old, some of the sugar or bags and stuff. So it all could be nasty. This is for art making, not for eating. If you are curious of what sugar tastes like, it's just plain sugar. So go home and ask your family if you can eat a spoonful of sugar, and you'll know what it tastes like. Anyways, not eating anything. Royal icing, it's soft now. It'll dry rock hard. You can also use it like glue to put in things like, you'll have this tray with you. You'll have sequins and beads and feathers maybe. Each year it's a little different, so you'll have something fun. This stuff you can stick in the wet icing and it will dry rock hard and it will attach it like glue. So you'll have that stuff, you'll have all your icing, your skull will be on a piece of cardboard, and that will help me pick it up and move it while it's drying. Then I keep these cardboards for the next year and you'll get your skull home. So this is really just like a tray for me to carry it. You'll have a paper towel, and this could be kind of like a towel for you to wipe your finger if it gets dirty, for you to wipe off the tip of your piping bag if it gets crusty. You also can use it like a little test practice sheet if you want to try out a little bit of icing before you do it on your skull. I try to make really tiny holes in your piping bag so only a little bit comes out at a time. When the holes get too big, it's really hard to pipe. So that's why I did small holes. So they get clogged up kind of easy. So you might have to squirt out a little bit and clean them off on the towel. Now, piping bags, really important part of any kind of cake or cookie decorating or skull decorating. This is going to help you kind of draw with your icing. If you just had a knife, you could cover something in icing like a cake, but you really can't do designs and stuff unless you have a piping bag. So there's a few tricks to piping bags. One, you want to keep all the icing as far down towards the tip as you can. So when I give them to you, they're as far down as I can get them. But as you work, the icing might kind of squeeze upward. So you got to kind of constantly check it and squeeze it, pinch it, and work it back down. Wherever your icing is, like some of these are getting a little empty, wherever the icing stops, I should say, that's where you want your hand. You don't want to squeeze up here, nothing's going to happen. You don't want to squeeze down here, all the icing's going to go upward and away from where you want it. So find the top of the icing, and that's where you want your hand. You need to keep kind of pressure right here. That's what's going to keep the icing coming out. If you just draw, nothing's going to happen. You have to actually squeeze to pipe as you go. So one hand, I like to hold it like this. One hand's doing the squeezing, and the other hand can kind of guide, or you might only need one hand. I kind of squeeze it like this with my the corner of the piping bag between my thumb and my pointer finger. And so I'm squeezing like this. So my palm is actually kind of help guiding it. And my, whatever, this little crook between your pointer and your thumb, that's doing the squeezing. So I'm going to do a little, make sure you can see me. Oh boy. Okay, move this up here so you can see. So I'm going to do a little practice here. And you can kind of figure out what works for you. Maybe more of your pinchers, whatever you'd like. Also depends on how big the bag is. So I'm squeezing as I move my hands. You can do curly cues. You could do letters. If you want to make this for someone and you want to put their name on it, you can. You do not have to make this for someone. It could just be decorated. You can do dots. And we probably looked at examples of sugar skulls. They have a lot of delicate designs, a lot of little dots, a lot of swirls, a lot of kind of flowery looking shapes like that. So one thing I want to show you is how to stop piping. This is usually what messes everyone up. This is kind of the trickiest part. I'm gonna get another color for fun. So your icing, let's say you're writing a letter or something, right? Once you want to be done and you want to pick up the bag, if you just pick it up, oh, that time actually worked. Usually when you just pick it up, kind of like that, it kind of stretches out and it kind of leaves a big glob maybe where you didn't want it, or just like keeps going as you pull the bag away. It sounds weird, but you actually have to go down and kind of bump your skull or bump the ground to make it kind of cut off from the piping bag. So I'll show you what I mean. So I'm making like, I don't know, curly shapes. If I want to stop, I actually kind of push down before I come up. You kind of bump and go up. I'm gonna do another color. Let's say I want to do, this is really handy for making little dots. Every time you make a little dot, you squeeze, go down. Whoop, that didn't work. Squeeze, bump down. Squeeze, bump down. If I don't bump down and I just pick up, you'll get weird shapes. It'll kind of dangle from your piping bag. It's going to make a big mess. So if you want to control your icing, put it where you want it, go down. Now I'm doing a bad job. Down. And piping and down. You can do kind of bigger, taller bumps of stuff, like a floret kind of thing. So you're piping, and maybe you kind of swirl it, and then you want to stop, bump, like that. So I'm making another rosette. I'm kind of going in a spiral, and I get smaller and smaller and smaller, and bump. That's how you get the icing to stop flowing. If that makes sense. Maybe we should do some on the actual sugar skull. So, and it's you have a lot of space, but it goes quickly. So you got to kind of plan what you want. You can do a lot of decorating, but it's not a huge skull. So I'm doing some little dots around the eyes, maybe. And let's see, maybe I want to do, I don't know, some, like a spider web kind of thing. Sometimes you see decorative spider webs. So I'm going to do lines going down. Bump it. Bump it. And the faster you move, I move my piping bag pretty quick, it will give me a thin line. If I go really slow, you'll get a thicker line, just because you're letting more icing come out. Oh, hope you guys can see that okay. I'll show you another thick line. I'll put one here. So if I go slow, I can make it thicker, or you can go over it twice. So I made some stripy lines there. So now I'm going to make some kind of curves. Bump, bump, bump it. Hope you guys get what I mean. Kind of bump, and a bump, and a bump, and a bump. I see what I mean there, how I bump it, that's how it lets go. That's how you can stop the icing from flowing. So have a lot of fun. Get creative with colors and things. If you want to do a solid, I'll do a rosette. So circle, 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 bump. Circle, 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 bump. That'll give you like a tall, mound of icing. If you want to attach things, like I said, like sequins and stuff, make sure the icing's freshly piped. Then stick in what you want. Give it a little bit of pressure to kind of make sure it's stuck to the, to the icing. Like that. Kind of push it in a little bit. I think something else I need to tell you. I think that's about it. Have fun. Try different designs. Try some kind of, curved lines, some straight lines. Try some dots. Try some rosettes. Remember, that's the, I'll try to show you a little closer. Whoa. So start with kind of a circle. And kind of stack it up, stack it up, stack it up, bump. And you get an actual tall rosette. So have some fun with it. And you have just today to decorate these. When the class is over, you're done. So it doesn't matter what it looks like. When we're out of time, you're out of time. So use your time wisely and have fun.